How's it going, everyone? Jesus here, aka Tyrant Dominus, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Honestly, Anchor is a very enjoyable platform to be on, listen on, and just a joy to be a part of this community. Anchor, come check us out. And welcome back to Reactioncast. It's your host Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, and we're here to talk about Season 5 of Rick and Morty. So, Season 5. This Rick and Morty has always been a show that has divulged into these crazy scenarios, and that's one of the best things about this show. But Season 5 felt like a giant mishmash of unrelated events, and that's saying a lot because for the most part seasons 1 through 4 had like different episodes, but there was like some underlying story. There was a little bit here, but it just felt weird because it just sometimes didn't feel like you were following C-137's Rick go into it to so much. I'm gonna try to avoid as much spoilers as I can, but it's gonna be hard because this season, a total of 10 episodes, kind of closes like the beginning of season 1 really well, because there's always been so much fan theory and things like that, and so many open questions, and we were hoping to get some answers and some new questions to ask, but the way season 5 ended, kind of like, okay, this is where we're at now. So I'm gonna kind of get into it a little bit, and then I'm gonna go into a little bit spoiler territory towards the end, but we're gonna start with the first, kind of like talking about some of the episodes individually, but not like in full. But so some of the first few episodes, like episode 1 of season 5 was Mort Diner Rick Andre. There's like a lot of fun movie references in this thing, and it's one of my favorite naming schemes that they did for this seasons. But in this one, Rick plays host when he has to prepare an important dinner for his ocean-dwelling nemesis. Meanwhile, Morty is sent to get wine in for the big man. And this is one of the episodes where we really split Rick and Morty's story heavily, and we see a lot of the consequences Morty has to deal with from a couple actions screwed across centuries in another dimension. Kind of also in the sense where Rick here is dealing with an arch nemesis who has some backstory with Rick, but it's just crazy. There is some other sub story, but it's really just like, okay, we're really seeing Morty take on his own. Going into like episode 2, Morty Plicity, where the Smiths suspect that they're being hunted. Also, this one was one of the weirdest episodes, I would say, because we don't know who's a clone or robots or whatever, and they just keep murdering each other, and it's crazy to the point where, like, okay, where is this leading off to? What is the end game for this episode? And it's kind of really just showcasing, like, we don't know who the real Smith family is. Who are the real Rick and Morty's, Summers? And, you know, we just don't know. And then going into episode 3, a Rick convention Morty learns that he's was too late to reduce and reuse after he falls in love. Oh, this is the weird Captain Planet like episode. This is one of the episodes where I felt they did Morty wrong, because there was, like I said, this felt like the season 5 kind of reduced Morty's character development from season 4, where he like really grew up somewhat. But then it kind of felt maybe this isn't C-137's Morty, and maybe we're just following someone else, because he is very emotional in this one, and it's just crazy. And then this one is kind of really another Rick and Summer episode, where they're literally apocalypse bar hopping, and it's crazy, and it really showcases like Rick's dependence on with Morty and stuff, and it was something. So we're gonna go now more into spoilers and some of the things I want to talk about. So that's kind of like the beginning, because this season was so weird, fun, but so weird, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit. So I'm hoping you watch more of this, because we're gonna get into some of the deeper stuff. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about episode 4. This is where the failed experiment by Rick creates a monster that has threatened the entire country as well as himself. Rick appended spray. Oh, this is where you get the incest baby. Like, seriously, they did an incest baby? Like, oh my god. Like, sperm monsters were something, but an incest baby, and on top of them naming him Naruto. It's baffling, it is baffling. I did not expect that. Like, where is this show going? There is multiple realities, but man, I did not think we were gonna get an incest baby. And then let's see here, a Mortykin graffiti. Summer and Morty steal Rick's car to impress the new transfer kid, and Rick and Jerry have... Okay, so this is the one where, like, the Summer Morty part of this episode was, like, okay, it was just, like, teenage angst, trying to impress the new kid, and that was fine. The best part of this episode, I felt, was the Rick and Jerry portion with the Beth kind of tagging along, because you got this like hellscape and fun. Pain is good and good is bad. It's like, it was fun. I think this is where it really was going back and harking to some of the things that Rick really does. He just loves suffering to an extent, but he doesn't want people to. He doesn't give a shit if someone goes against him, and he will murder you, even if you do like it. And if you do like it, he'll make it so you don't like it. So this episode was really fun in that sense. Let's see. Gordon, Jarius, Rick, Vin, Gillian. Summer enables Rick's addiction to... Okay, this is a weird... Oh man, I can't remember the name of the show where they had the transforming robots, kind of like the Megazord, but there's a better statement. Oh my god, it's gonna bug me. What is it? 5 robots combine. Why is it? Come on. Why is it 5? What is the name of that? What was the name of that show? God, this is gonna... There it is. Show. Come on. You're bug me. Oh, the Voltron. That's what it was. Like, oh god, that's gonna... I'm sorry, guys. That was just gonna bug me if I didn't get Voltron. But yeah, the Voltron episode, where it was somewhat of a Morty... No, it was a Rick and Summer episode with Morty divulging, and it really just showcased once again how volatile Rick is. And it's like, okay, this is who Rick is, or this is how C-137 is. He gets obsessive, he can be a loose cannon, and when this really showcases, and then it kind of really showcases how much Summer and Morty kind of really want Rick's attention. And it was also fun just seeing like all the different versions of Rick and Morty, Rick's. That was fun. But then kind of divulging back to a family sake, kind of like it always happens, like it just resets. Moving forward, episode 8, Returnal Friendshine of the Spotless Mort. This this was one of the more emotional episodes, I would say, because we get to see Bird Person again, and we get to see some of like Rick's past through Bird Person's memories, basically, and it's really intriguing to see young Rick and kind of some of the things, and we'll learn more about that in the finale episode. But what was happening with Morty's portion of the episode? I'm trying to remember. I'm just double checking what was happening with Morty. Let's see here. Let's see here. Finds Bird Person. Memory. What's happening? What's happening with Morty? What was happening with? Was it really just a Frick? I'm trying to see because I can't remember any of the Morty portion. Yeah, it feels like it was just a bunch of just a big Rick episode from what I'm kind of rereading here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it was just a big Rick episode, and well, it makes sense. We needed to get a sense of who Rick once again is, because we kind of lost sight of it. It's just this season was just so weird. He was popping off, trailing off, being Rick but not being Rick in some senses. It just fell off sometimes. Episode 9, Forgetting Rick Marshall. Rick gets a new sidekick while Morty makes a new friend. So these two episodes I just recently watched. So these are the freshest ones in my head. So this one where Rick replaces Morty with two crows, and it's freaking hilarious. I'll get to it a little bit in episode 10 because it ends really funny. So they're kind of tired with each other, and Rick and Morty are just like, all right, you know what, I can be replaceable and stuff. So Rick goes on this kind of solo adventure. Not solo, because he has now his two crows who are Morty's replacement. He's doing fun crazy shit, learning stuff. He gets abducted by crow people, learns to accept them, things like that. Kind of this sense of he's been a bad partner and he needs to grow from it. While Morty kind of ends up with Porto goo on his arm, and it finds out that there's another individual who has Porto goo on themselves, and they go on this adventure because Rick left them, so why not get together and be Porto boys? But it's one of those things where, you know, a main person and a sidekick can do stuff, but two sidekicks can't really do stuff together because things just get too convoluted. I'm not saying that Morty can't be a main cast. He's been shown to do it a couple times, but in this episode it really showcased that he can't take the lead sometimes if someone's overpowering. And then that episode kind of ends on the note where they just split up, and it's like, okay, interesting. And I was happy that then the next episode 10, Rick Morai Jack. I was really hoping there was an interesting post of Rick and Morty meeting with Samurai Jack. I was like, God, please do that, but they did not. But it is a fun nod because they did the intro to Rick and Morty in this like anime style, and even had like the undertone of the soundtrack, and it was super anime, and it's fucking hilarious because at this point Rick is gone, left on his own to do his own thing with his two crows, and he's doing like an anime style adventure where he's defeating people, killing people with giant fucking swords, being all edgy and shit, and Morty's trying to get him back and things like that. And then he comes back and he looks older. Now this is the episode where it gets freaking crazy, because this is the episode where so much canon happened, and you can tell that that's where this is going. This is why I'm saying that this season was so weird getting to this point, because we get the return of Evil Morty, and Evil Morty showed up back in season 1, the end of season 1, and it's been one of those lingering things that we've been waiting for some answers to. And we finally get this idea, like this episode like gives you so many answers, like all the things, like the whole thing in the episode where they were stuck in the and kind of like the simulation thing where you saw Rick's wife die and things like that. Like, was that all just fabricated or not? It turns out it wasn't. We learned more from when he was like going through and trying to kill the other Ricks to find the one Rick who killed his wife and child, and kind of a little bit more from when he was with Bird Person during those his early or his late 20s and 30s, or that point to the point where he went on a murder spree on all the Ricks, trying to find the one Rick that killed his family. And then this is where we learned about the idea of where the Citadel came from, because C-137's Rick was one of the original collaborators to build this place, because all the other Ricks were getting fucking pissed that they were getting murdered. So they just okay, if this is what we're gonna do, let's do this. And we were just getting so many lore drops in this episode just to get to this point, and it just felt like, okay, this is where we're at. There was just almost there was some build up, but there was not really okay, I wanted more hints and stuff. But then this is also where we learned about the Mortys and kind of the things that Ricks did to always have a Morty on them. We learned back in season 1 and that the reason Morty's around is to hide the brainwaves of the Ricks, to kind of balance them out. And if you have enough Mortys, things like that, there's a lot. But at this point, it's you can kind of see in the background a lot where if Morty dies, there can always be another replacement. There's schools of Mortys. There's a bunch of stuff. Mortys are replaceable. And in this season, in this episode, specifically episode 10, it showcases that they are being made. They are being created. Different things. The inception to get Jerry and Beth together, and everything to always have a Morty with them. And we get finally the idea of what evil Morty is doing. Why is he doing this? Why did he become president? And it's an interesting idea, because apparently that I can't remember what it's called, but they kind of did, or maybe they did before. They kind of did a Loki thing where they Ricks basically set themselves on their own timeline or timelines where they're always the smartest and everything, and there's no outside interference. So they're kind of stuck in these pocket timeline, and evil Morty just wants to get away, get out. He wants to be away from Ricks. He's tired of it, and he just wants his own thing. And this is where the kind of the Rick versus evil Morty stuff happens, and learning of everything. What is it called? The curve. What's it called? I kind of want to look it up. I actually like the name they chose for this. What is it? Evil Morty, evil version. Apparently, all evil Mortys are just any Morty that's grown tired of Ricks and are done with them. The central finite curve. So that's what it was. So evil Morty wants to just get past the central finite curve and get away. And I like how I wish that we just got to learn more of the motivations. I get it. You can understand the motivations of a Morty, and mostly from the aspect of evil Morty. But I wish we got more of it, because all we get are from sign lives from different Mortys. But if evil Morty has been the culminations of all these Mortys, I can understand why he's fucking pissed and why he would want to get away from this and break through through the central finite curve and get away from this universe. And we get a fucking crazy scene, and I like it. And I don't know what we're gonna get from here, because now the Sentinel's gone, a bunch of Ricks have been murdered, they saved a bunch of Mortys. I don't know, this season was just fucking weird. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. There was just so many weird things and a lot of fun things, but it just could have been done much more cohesive a little bit. Every episode individually was fun, but there was just no semblance, and that's kind of what I disliked about this season. There were some fun episodes, but it was just so weird at times. So I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give season 5 of Rick and Morty. Oh, man, I kind of want to give it a 7, but it was good, but it wasn't that good. I had laughs, but it's just so weird at times, and there's just no really interesting flow at times. Maybe I'm gonna go with a 6. Actually, I might just go with it. It was pretty fine. It was pretty okay. It was better than average, better than a 5. I might just have to go with 6. I'm gonna go with 6 out of 10. Season 5 of Rick and Morty was a 6 out of 10. It was fine. It was good. I'm fine. I mean, nothing more to say really. It's just there's a bunch of questions now going from this. Now that Evil Morty has left this universe into the expanse, basically. We're just gonna have to see where that leads and what our Rick and Morty or C-137 is gonna be dealing with, and kind of the ramifications from everything, because it took a long time. This season was a lot of Rick trying to get a hold of, like, being good to Morty and understanding that they're partners and things like that. There was a lot of up and down to get to that point, and I just like, okay, all right, that's where we're at. And even when you got towards the end of the final episodes, to like, okay, they understand. It just didn't fit right. All right, so those were my thoughts on season 5 of Rick and Morty. Let me know what you thought of season 5. Did you like it? Did you not? What are some theories you have of the season 6? I'm like, there's nothing really in my head at the moment, but I'm looking forward to what people come. But yeah, thanks again for listening. Until next time, see ya.